Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online and we're back, it's here. It's the brand new season of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. So this is season 4 and I've got to say I'm, well, marginally excited. It seems as if we have 6 brand new couples. Yes, that's right. There's no Big Ed and Liz, there's no Angela and Michael, there's no Elizabeth and Andre, there's no Colton. Insert unlucky Latina here. TLC producers have finally managed to find some brand new faces for us. And so this season there are 6 brand new couples and I'm going to be introducing all of them to you during the course of this week. And so let's get straight into it. First up this week we have Jen from Oklahoma and Rishi from India. And so Jen is 46 and she's 14 years older than Rishi at 32. That's small potatoes, I'm battle weary now. When I compare them to Jenny and Sumit, they seem virtually the same age. And so first up we're introduced to Rishi from India. Who is he? What does he do? Guys, he's about to tell us.
There is a stigma in the fitness industry. People think we just about our looks, not our brain. But I have a law degree from the law college and I also have a master degree from the University of Rajasthan.
So he's a model and a fitness trainer with some sort of depth and intelligence. Rishi's decided to let us all know via 90 Day Fiance how he washes his hair. He uses loads of products and he swirls it around, just like the lady from the L'Oreal advert. Go on Rishi, wash the strength back in. I'll never forget that advert, never. And he helpfully lets us know it takes him an hour and a half every other day to wash and care for his hair. And I've got to admit, I'm slightly underwhelmed at the state of his hair, considering he puts so much effort into it. Anyone would think he was a black woman. Hours and hours of work and very little in the way of results. I know, before you bite my head off, speak for yourself. I do. So as well as being a personal trainer, Rishi's a fitness model. I'm kind of figuring fitness model is in, I don't know, kind of like an Instagram model. I guess we'll see. And then Rishi lets us know that he's the only person in the city he lives in to have long curly hair. I'm guessing he means the only man. But somehow, I don't know, I'm doubting this. Let me do a bit of research. Right, so he lives in a city called Jaipur, and according to our trusty friends at Google, the population for Jaipur in 2023 was 4.2 million. Okay, so in 4.2 million people, you're the only man with curly hair. Now we've established that Rishi lives in an entirely fictitious world. Let's get back to the show.
Some people say that I look like an Indian Jesus.
Oh good lord, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Rishi unequivocally lives in a fantasy world. I think we've got a full-time knock on our hands here. And so then Rishi treats us to a few obligatory modelling poses. Who does he put me in mind of? Oh yes, that old classic, Zoolander. But according to Rishi, he's quite the popular man, especially when it comes to the ladies.
I don't need to give any effort. They approach themselves to speak with me. And that is how I met my fiancée Jen.
Okay, so next up, let's go and meet Jen. We first see her and she's working on the family farm. So Jen's moved around quite a bit. She's lived in 5 or 6 cities in the US and she's also done a whole heap load of international travel. So I guess her moving to India isn't as big a deal as we might imagine. So Jen confides that previously her dating life hasn't been, well, how can we say stellar? And apparently she always picks the wrong kind of guys.
I have a track record of falling for the wrong guys. I would choose guys who were good looking and very charismatic, but in terms of a long-term partner, they were not what I needed.
Oh dear, well, I guess she'll be okay with Rishi then because he appears to be charisma free. So according to Jen, they met in a hotel where she was staying and Rishi was on a modelling job. They got to chatting and he humbly showed her his modelling photos. Jen says she wasn't interested at all and she gave it a hard pass. But then they started hanging out together and 5 or 6 dates later, they fell madly in love. And Jen says it's very hard for her to pinpoint exactly why she fell in love with Rishi. I think I know. But apparently he's the one. And so the couple dated for around a month. And then suddenly, out of the blue, Rishi proposed and Jen accepted. And so next up we see Jen sitting down with her brother and they talk about the relationship. It would seem that he's, well, none too pleased. He thinks she's rushing things and it's all gone too quickly. He asked, how many days have you spent together in total? And she said about 45. And guys, when she said this is when I realised that 90 Day Fiance has lowered my expectations exponentially. In fact, it's dangled my expectations in the bloody toilet bowl. 45 days relationship in 90 Day Fiance years is about 18 months. It's an actual bona fide, proper, real relationship. They know each other in depth, guys. In depth. But notwithstanding all of that, her brother seems to have something on his mind.
You're not concerned that he's tried to dodge you contacting you? I seem to recall you talking about him not responding.
Yeah, I did. I went through some insecurity at the beginning when we were apart.
And so yes, apparently during COVID, Rishi took to ignoring Jen. And it is quite strange because I'd imagine there's not that much to do if everyone's on lockdown. But whilst he was busy ignoring her, here's what Jen decided to do.
I'd love to be wrong about this, but I just have a feeling. I have a feeling that you're distancing yourself and that maybe you're not all in. I'll always love you. You're like my first love. But I can let go because I have to love myself, and I don't like feeling like I'm chasing you.
And so the couple talked over their problems and smoothed everything out, and Jen lets us know that she's head over heels in love with Rishi and she's all in. But guys, then she tells us she loves his persona. What? That doesn't sound very promising. You're supposed to love his personality, not his persona. So that's it from this couple. Guys, I almost forgot. If you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks, guys. And so on to the next. So we're going to talk about Kris from Alabama and Jeymi from Colombia. And so this couple have been dating for 2 years. Kris is moving to Colombia and they're getting married apparently 9 days after she arrives. But guess what? This is the doozy. They've never met. Oh Lord, guys, let's get into it. So we first meet Kris and she's at home and she's playing dress up. She lets us know that she's 40 but she's going on 20. Oh really, Kris? Both your dress up and your decision making processes tell me you're going on 12. So Kris lets us know that she's bisexual, but she's from the Bible Belt in Alabama, and apparently it's not great being gay there. She's always had to hide herself and hide who she is. She's been married twice and she's got 2 kids, but things have never worked out with guys, and this is her first real proper relationship with a woman. So this couple met on an international dating site, and neither of them seemed to know what they were doing on there. I'll tell you ladies, you were looking for somebody internationally. Guys, it really gets my goat when people just say, I just ended up on this international site. I don't know how. You must have typed it into Google. That's how. Even if you didn't type it in, when you saw it, you must have clicked on it, knowing it said international. Oh, good grief. And guys, it seems like Kris is selling up to go to Colombia. She's having a yard sale and both of her kids turn up, I guess, to help her sell this trash. So she sits down with her kids and they have a chat. And her daughter Star is quite worried about this relationship, its validity and the chances of it working out. Her daughter Star has quite a few intelligent points to make concerning the fact the couple have never met in person.
What if you don't like the way she sleeps? Or the way that she does stuff, you know? And then you're like stuck. Because you don't know these things about her.
The way she bloody sleeps, that's the least of it. What happens if she hates the way she smells? As we all know, pheromones are a big part of human attraction. And if the smell of this woman turns Kris's stomach, what are you going to do? Agreeing to get married after never having met is not just borderline crazy, it's definitively crazy. So you might wonder, what's the reason for this ridiculous rush? Well, apparently Jeymi was struck down by COVID 6 months ago and she was in hospital and she almost lost her life. And now Kris wants to do anything to expedite the process of them being together. Kris doesn't want to wait for pesky paperwork or to even work out if they get on. She just wants to get married as soon as is humanly possible. And so next up we go off to Colombia and we meet the lovely Jeymi. She's trying on lingerie and she lets us know that her relationships with men have never ever worked out.
In my past, I have boyfriends, but I know like sex for men.
So this problem persisted until she decided to go and see a psychotherapist. And he then discovered that she was a lesbian and that in fact men were the problem. Surprise, surprise. I so often find that men are always the problem.
I am a lesbian today, tomorrow, and the next weekend, and the next year, and the next month. I'm sorry, I'm lesbian.
Oh, Jeymi, once you make up your mind, you let us know, all right? She's pretty sure. So Jeymi explains to us that she's moved to Bogota in Colombia because the socio-economic situation in Venezuela wasn't conducive to having a, well, decent standard of living. And she further lets us know that it's not socially acceptable to be gay in Venezuela and it's much more open in Colombia. So as she's telling us all this, she's standing in her apartment and I'm looking behind her thinking, the furnishings leave, I don't know, a little to be desired. Personally, I think she should have gone to Kris's yard sale. And Jeymi finishes up by saying she's never ever told her parents that she's gay and they have no idea. And so next up we see Jen and she's at a cafe FaceTiming her friends and they sit and chat about the relationship. And guys, her friends are very concerned. Why, I hear you ask? Because apparently Kris has been disappearing and ghosting Jeymi. So the worst time was when she disappeared for 20 whole days. So after this 20-day ghosting, it was Jeymi's birthday and Kris finally contacted her on her birthday and they managed to patch things up. However, in the intervening 20 days, Jeymi managed to find somebody else and she started an online relationship with a woman in Texas. I've got to say, all these problems so early on doesn't bode well. It's supposed to be the honeymoon period. And one of her friends says, well, are you just going to close your eyes and hope for the best? No. Oh, good Lord, don't be ridiculous. She's going to close her eyes and put her fingers in her ears. La 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 la. She doesn't want to hear anything bad, for she thinks everything's going to be just fine. So we go back to America and we're treated once more to the decision-making processes of a 12-year-old. So Kris has got an old house which has unfortunately burnt down and she's renovating it into 3 apartments in order to create an income for herself when she's in Colombia. However, she doesn't appear to have got very far. The mind boggles. Why does she not just postpone her trip for a few months? And so Kris's mother decides to pay her a visit and they talk candidly about all of Kris's health problems, and apparently she's got something called narcolepsy, which I think is when you just fall to sleep wherever you are. And Kris said sometimes it's really embarrassing if she falls to sleep in a restaurant or when she's in company. Interesting. I tend to fall to sleep whenever Kris is talking. And so because this narcolepsy can be rather embarrassing, Kris tells her mum she hopes that Jeymi will be understanding of her condition. And guys, it sounds decidedly to me as if she hasn't really discussed this condition with Jeymi in detail. And then Kris tells her mum about the time that Jeymi cheated on her. We're treated to the text messages and apparently the girl she was speaking to in Texas forwarded all the messages straight to Kris. And apparently Jeymi begged for forgiveness. But Kris is still a little bit wary. Kris doesn't seem to take any responsibility whatsoever for the fact that she just ghosted her and went off the grid for 20 days. The truth be told, if someone didn't speak to me for 20 days, I'd assume it was pretty much over. It seems somewhat like a case of cognitive dissonance. Unsurprisingly, Kris's mum thinks that Jeymi might be using her for money. And that might well be true, but there isn't at the moment, I don't think, any evidence for that. This is very often an accusation put to somebody only when someone's from another, poorer country. But I put this to you. So imagine Kris had met her and she was from Miami. Would she still be saying the same thing? If you get a nurse that marries a doctor or a secretary that marries the boss, do people then say, oh, it's only for money? It seems to me it gets said far more often when somebody's from another country. And I find it quite interesting. And that's where we leave things for both these new couples. So what does the Ebird make from all of this? The first thing I've got to say is well done to the 90 Day Fiance casting team, because it would seem that they've finally found us some brand new couples who seem somewhat, well, interesting. Once again, we've got something to get our teeth into. Regarding the couples, I think that Jen and Rishi have a really good chance of making it, mainly because they've spent quite a bit of time together thus far, and it seems like they do actually know each other quite well. As for Kris and Jeymi, well, I'm not quite so sure. There are health problems, ghosting, cheating, and they've yet to even meet each other. And then, of course, the fact that Jeymi's parents don't know that she's gay. What other secrets have they got for each other? Guys, I can't wait to find out. So please let me know what you think in comments down below. Do you think it's likely that a marriage can work just 9 days after meeting? I don't know if I think that can work. As we've all seen, 90 days is a struggle. 9 days is, well, quite frankly, ridiculous. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.